to come on this. So,
Oh, I'm trust us, it will be smooth
okay.
on your
Yes.
end.
Oh,
Now it
yeah.
may
I
not
was
be
gonna say.
smooth on our end, but it will be smooth on your end. No, we're very laid back. It's going to be
Is my
just fine.
sound okay?
Oh, yeah. Perfect. No worries at all.
I'm just on my laptop
Yep.
microphone.
Everything's
Oh yeah,
perfect.
sounds great.
Cool.
Okay, what do you got, DH? I've got it. I think showing for me.
I'm still waiting for it to go live here. Let me refresh it 1 minute here. Let's
Sure.
try that. It's saying upcoming in about 4 minutes. So we'll see here. Up there we go. Just popped it. All
There we
right.
go.
We are live.
All right. Let me go ahead and get our intro in.
Yes, sir.
We'll get going.
All right.
Hi, this is Jack Hughes of Wang Chung, and you're listening to the DND Dynamite 80s podcast show with your hosts DC and DH.
Live from Nashville, Tennessee, you are listening to the D&D Dynamite 80s podcast with your hosts, DC and DH. So, guys, take it away. Yes. Take it away.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another episode of D&D Dynamite 80s. I'm DH.
I am DC, I think.
And we are here back on our normal Wednesday night for
Wednesday
our
weekly,
Wednesday
yes.
night weekly podcast. Got some big
Yeah.
changes coming in the near future. We'll talk
Yes, we
about
do.
that
We'll talk about that at the
a
end.
little
Sure
bit
will.
later as we get through it. But DC, I ask you every week how your week's been. And brother, I'm just gonna be honest with you. We
About the
really
same
don't.
old,
We
same old.
we really don't care how your week's
Right.
been. We're just excited to get this one started. So I'm gonna throw it over to you. Let's get introductions and let's get this one rolling.
Yeah, we're honored to have Celia Chavez with us tonight, and she's with the Totally Go-Go's tribute band. And I assume, Celia, that you're in the L.A. area. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. We're honored to have you. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. I need to ask you this first. I always like to do this with our guests. What's your music background?
Oh, my music background. I actually have been a backup singer.
Hmm.
Primarily, as you can see by my name here, I'm playing a guitar player, but I'm and a backing singer in the Go-Go's. But I'm primarily a backing singer for people like Pink and Enrique Iglesias, and I've sung with Seal. Also, I sung with a lot of people that I've been on tours with and that sort of thing, and in the
Wow.
studio.
Wow.
And I also have I'm an artist as well, and so I'm a singer-songwriter, and I
That
have
is
a project, and I have a duo project with my husband. Um, yeah.
wow. So who are some of the people that influenced you along your career?
Oh, you know what? Joan Jett, Debbie Harry.
Yeah.
As a songwriter, Joni Mitchell, which is so cliche to be, the singer-songwriter goddess, but she is. And
Yeah.
also jazz singers in my early, like my teens and my early 20s, and I sang a lot of jazz. So like Dinah Washington and Nancy Wilson, Irene Krall, um, people like that. Yeah, Ella Fitzgerald for sure.
Wow.
Uh,
Amazing. Yes. So how did kind of talk to us a little bit how you kind of became involved with the Totally Go-Go's and kind of how all that came about?
well, it's funny because Chrissy, who is the Gina in the band, she plays drums and
All right.
she's it's her music agency, which is called Pulp Vixen.
Yes. I've interviewed her before.
Yes.
You have. Okay, so you know
Yeah.
already she
Yeah.
has a bunch of bands that are all female bands, all female musicians and singers. And so she actually came to me a few years ago I'm also in one of the other hats that I wear. I'm a vocal coach and a
Okay.
teacher, music
Oh,
teacher.
very good. Okay.
So she came to me wanting to work on vocal harmonies and also private voice lessons because she does a lot of heavy singing in the bands, also, where she's drumming and singing. So we got to know each other with that kind of a vocal coach client relationship. And then she just put on social media one day that the Jane Whelan character, the person who was filling that role decided to step away, and so she was looking for. She's like, I need someone who can play guitar, rhythm guitar, and keyboards and sing. And she's like, I can't find anybody. Like, where is this unicorn? And I'm like, I could do those things. Like, am I?
Let's let Chrissy in. Speaking of Chrissy,
Yes.
keep
Tell her
going. Keep going.
part of the
Yeah.
story. But yeah, so she just posted that one day, and I knew her, and we were friendly, so I just said, would you want me to do that? That just sounds like fun. Like the repertoire is
Yeah.
just a blast, to play and sing and hi Chrissy.
Hey, Chrissy.
Hey, welcome in, Chrissy.
Thank you for joining us.
And so yeah, in my I mostly play like acoustic singer-songwriter music right now, and I'm in cover bands. I'm in, again, my husband and I have a couple of rock and roll bands that do covers, and but I don't ever get to play like electric distorted guitar and bounce around in 80s outfits.
Who gets to do that? No one gets to do that. But us
That
lucky
sounds
ones.
like a heck of a lot of
Right.
fun, though. That's
Yes.
for sure.
So fun.
Although I will say, DC, I do not want to see you in parachute
No,
pants.
no, no,
brother.
no, no, no. No parachute
No,
pants
no.
for me.
Let's not go there.
Well, let's just put it this way: if I wore them now, I might cause a friction fire.
You would start a fire.
No parachute pants for me.
Yes, no. You can
Well,
do
we're
the
welcoming in Chrissy. That she wears. Speaking of a lot of hats, she wears a lot of hats.
There's a
Yes.
a
Oh
lot of
sure.
yeah. See all those hats I wear? They're
Yeah, there you go.
blurry.
She stays very, very busy in herself there. Yeah, we welcome you in as well. I've talked to Chrissy before. We've had her on talking about Pulp Vixen before.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm going to get her back at some point to also talk about the Van Halen tribute that they did as
Yes.
well.
Right.
We're going to have her on for
Right.
that.
yes.
So try to keep, what is it, DH, before we let the cat out of the
what
bag?
is-
September?
September's going to be Van Halen
So
month. Yes.
look at some Wednesdays in
Hey.
September. We're going to do Van Halen month.
Cool.
So we'd
Yes.
love to have you on to talk about that,
Cool.
the
Cool.
Fem Halens. And yeah, that'd be awesome.
So so you caught us at a transitional moment in our band. So what started happening for me in my company in 2022 is I lost I lost my Belinda in my GoGo's. So she was also one of our lead singers in Pulp Vixen, and
Ooh.
she was also Belinda in my GoGo's project. And
Gotcha.
she's an original artist, and she was moving out of state, and she does other things that she wanted to do. And so a lot of so two things happened. I put some of our projects on hiatus because Pulp Vixen is our bread and butter. Because honestly, a lot of our projects they're just offshoots. Like it's about marketing. It's about
Sure.
taking a package and marketing it to buyers so they understand what we can provide for them. But it's a lot of the same musicians and players. So two big shifts happened in 22. One of my lead singers left. I put Go-Go's on hiatus. And then I started what was happening for me in the industry locally here in SoCal is I had a lot of musicians that were starting to become musicians for hire, hired guns. And the vocalists that were interested in my project at this time, they were also a bit of a hired gun situation. So I was having, up until then, I had only had one band, rarely had subs. That was it. They were all loyal to the project. I knew that, they knew that I would be filling all of their weekends for them. They didn't have to look for work anywhere else. And I knew that I didn't have to worry about musicians not being available. So
Yeah.
that's when
Yeah.
it kind of started a shift for me in my business. So what's happened since then? So Go-Go's was on a hiatus. And I started utilizing a much bigger group of female musicians and vocalists. And so we have grown into this bit of a female musician collective over the last 2.5 years. And I've kind of diversified. And so I'm not any longer dependent on the same core of musicians, although I work mostly with the same musicians. But as they have wanted to move on with other projects and do other things outside of Pulp Vixen and our projects, I
Hmm.
have shared the work that I have with other musicians. And Celia is one of our incredible breath of fresh air musicians that has joined us. So she's very, very in the early stages of working with us. And I know I heard when I came on, she was telling the story about how we made the connection. But let me tell you, boys, like she blew me away. Talk about, like, I've always talked about how the fact that all the musicians and vocalists that I work with are much better musicians and vocalists than I am. My magical power is running a business, and I surround myself with just literal A players. And boy, someone from above was looking out for me that day because Celia checks all the boxes. Not only is she a phenomenal vocalist, which I'm not even utilizing her vocal prowess, but she's an amazing musician, and she's like an energizer bunny, which is exactly what Janie is, and that is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
role
that's
that
right.
she is portraying. So although it was a struggle to get the proper players in place again, I am so grateful because she fits the bill beautifully.
Yeah,
She looks the part, she sounds the part, she does the work. She's reliable. She just like I'm telling you, she hits all the boxes. And so that's why I kind of wanted to feature her today because she has breathed a new life into our project for us.
gotcha.
That's how I see it. And so although like I'm managing, like you had said, so many different projects, we've hit the ground running in 2025. We have, what Pulp Vixen works about 12 to 14 times a month. Our
Wow.
tribute projects work once a month or so. Sometimes we'll have a couple gigs in the same month, but that's a much slower rate of gigs. But for us, having been on hiatus with the Go-Go's, to have like a gig a month is like kicking it in, right into gear again. And she has been a huge part of that for us this
Mm,
year. And she's lived it. She lived the 80s. She understands and knows the music. It's familiar to her. So what she brings to the table is beyond what maybe a youngster that doesn't have appreciation for that decade of
yeah,
music or the all-female band and everything they did for the industry and for female musicians at that moment in
Yes.
time. They're
mm,
everything that our project is about. They didn't have the training. They were young. They were disrespected. No one wanted to give them a shot. When they did get a shot and they went on tour and opening for big bands, people would spit on them and throw things at them. But they did it, and they were the most successful female band of all time. And I'm talking
No.
musicians who wrote their own music, not a
yeah.
lineup of girls who had writers for them. You know what I'm saying? These girls did it all and
Did
they
it
didn't
all.
know
Yeah,
anything,
Yeah.
but they did it anyways. And I
yeah.
really like that means a lot to me because I'm older than most of the musicians. Most of us are older than most of the musicians. Certainly, the musicians that are getting into original product
Mm,
and making it, as a teenager or a 20 something, we're way past that expiration date. But guess what? That's
yes,
why I
we
love the
are.
Go-Go's because what
Yeah.
we are all about is doing it in spite of those challenges and doing it in spite of what expectations are for women our age. We have lived lives, raised families, become experts in our field, and we just won't accept the fact that, okay, because we're not in an age bracket that suits you or suits the industry, we're not going to stop. We're going to
Mm,
get louder because guess what? We're better. And that's what Celia is to this project. That's what this band is to us. It's all of those things. It's us saying, we're still here, we're relevant, and by the way, we actually kick ass, you know what I mean, at the same
Yes.
time. So it's a
Yes.
yeah.
very empowering project to be a part of, so I'm
Mm.
just thrilled that she's jumped on board.
And
Fantastic.
the thing for me that I really enjoy, especially watching some of the performances and all, is the musicianship and the artistry that you all put on the stage.
Yeah.
And you were kind of talking about some of the younger artists out there.
Hmm.
A lot of those younger artists are not musicians. They're just, and I don't mean this the way it sounds because they're talented in their own right, but
Yeah.
they're more computerized, entertainment than
Yeah.
anything these days.
Or, I think one of the generational gaps is these days, with social media, people have very short attention spans, and they want to see someone shred for 30 seconds on TikTok, and you'll have 100,000 followers, and you'll be the top of the heap. But when it comes to expressiveness, expressing yourself, paying homage to the music, that's much different skill set.
Yes.
And it takes more than 30 seconds of a cute outfit and learning a riff and editing that, for your followers. So I appreciate that notice the difference, the
Yeah.
huge
Hey,
differences,
it is.
Well, and
you
there's,
know.
the thing when on social media, it's very two-dimensional, I mean, the Go-Go's, they were very tactile, you know what I mean? They were scrappy and they were in the punk.
Yeah.
They
Raw.
they had to fight for their, I mean, they just were in an era, they had to fight for their position.
Yes.
Yeah.
The second order. And
There's
they
an
got,
edge.
And they were the lead. They were the
Yes.
lead for
They
the females.
started the
Yes.
revolution. They
Sure they did.
literally did. They did, and they didn't even know it. All they were
No.
doing was what they wanted to do, but they got caught up in a bigger thing. They literally started a revolution,
Right.
females in music. And we owe a lot to them. We really respect them. And
and they're still going too. I
Oh,
mean,
Sure.
yeah. Isn't that
Yeah.
fantastic?
Yeah,
That makes me
absolutely
the
it is.
happiest.
Well,
That
and
was-
that tells you how strong, their whole core of what they did was all about. People
Yes.
love the music,
And
Yeah.
and they're bringing it back out, again. So that's
Hey,
great stuff.
tell them, Celia, like when people come to our shows, a lot of our shows are at 80s specific bars and restaurants, and
Mhm.
people hire us specifically for that 80s vibe. And let me tell you what, like those people are singing their hearts out, lyric for lyric, and like the girls are like nervous, like, oh man, if they know I'm not singing the right stuff, they're gonna know. They're singing the lyrics back to me. They know the songs better than we do. Like
Sure.
these songs meant something
That's
to
right.
a whole generation of music lovers.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And the cool thing is, and DC, you can attest to this, probably one of my favorite interviews and one of the probably
Yeah.
coolest
That's what I was going to tell
things
these
that ever
guys.
happened was when we had Gina Shock on, and she was actually at a rehearsal and
Wow.
did the interview.
She
from
interviewed behind the
set.
drums, the
It
whole
was
interview.
amazing. And
You
what a
can't make that
super
up.
lady.
Ugh, that's
No.
You can't
incredible.
make that up. How amazing of a
It was
opportunity
amazing.
was that?
It was
Right.
amazing. Yes. And
How many
super-
interviews has she given on a drum, on the drum stool,
It's her home turf, right? I mean,
Yeah, so it was perfect.
so
Yeah, the guy that we dealt with to get it all set up, he said, well, she'll have a little bit of time in between these sessions, practice sessions. And he said, if you don't mind, that they're going to be in studio. And I said, mind? Heck no, that'd be awesome.
Right?
We don't mind one bit. So he walks in with it on, like the camera. So
Yeah.
he opens the door to the session, and walks over there and, hey, gives her the camera and all this. And I guess he interviewed, or had the camera. He was doing it.
Right.
But, man, what an opportunity. That was just special. That's been
was,
one of our
yes.
highlights, since we've done this. What is
I
it?
bet.
Fifth year we've done. Yeah.
Fifth year,
This is
yeah.
year 5 that we're in.
And we haven't got any better. But it's
No, we
okay.
haven't. No, that's all right. But
It's all right.
Hey, that one thing that's on my bucket list. I sure would love to meet those girls, jam with
Mhm.
those girls. Boy, that sure would be a bucket list item for me.
sure.
you know,
Well, that was my question I was going to ask you guys. Have you heard anything at all through social media or anything? I was just curious. from
Nothing
them?
but like some follows, like some of the girls follow us on social
Oh,
media.
okay.
I've
Okay.
had like a couple of likes and comments, but very light, nothing, you know, nothing more than that.
I got you. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Very
I
good.
think a few of them live in LA still, right? And so they're around.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Maybe.
maybe one of them will just pop in and
Wouldn't
see
that be
when
cool?
Oh, yeah.
that would definitely be cool. That would
Wouldn't
definitely
Speaking
that
be
be
cool.
cool?
speaking of popping in, DC, let's take a look at the clip you got loaded for
Well, I
us.
don't know. We'll ask Chrissy. It was it may not be the same lineup of folks.
Right, right. That's
So
okay. What
you
if
sure?
Let's
Okay.
sure,
But
yeah. Whatever
we wanted
that's
to show
fine.
your work, and
Yeah.
Yes,
so
because
we'll
it's
do that.
amazing. It
Yeah,
is
it is
amazing.
awesome stuff that you guys do. So we will do that. All right. Let's go ahead and get it
Put him
all
on the
set up here.
spot, see if he can figure this part of
I
technology
doubt it,
out.
man. All right, we'll try it.
I got the Gina wig going.
Yes,
Yep.
you do. Notice that. Got the same moves going
Yes.
Yeah.
on the drums. Chrissy, we can do a little bit back and forth here a little bit. It looks like some big crowds that you guys have in front of you
Oh,
sometimes.
yeah. Remember, I was saying like people are just crazy about the 80s. They
Sure.
never get tired of it.
Right.
It's just this decade, this moment in time that people will just never let go of.
Sure,
That's the
sure.
experience we've had.
So fun. Awesome.
And I think, what else happens is a lot of times when big movies come out, like Stranger Things came out and they use a lot of 80s music, that sometimes, re-energizes
Sure.
a decade or
Yeah.
a type of music
Oh, most definitely.
culturally.
Oh, yeah, a large crowd.
Yeah.
We'll talk about some of that too. Crowd sizes and all that. We love to.
We just do a
There we go.
convention, 2,000 women or something. Was
Oh
it
yeah, we just did a women's convention in January, and there were, I think, like 1,500 people in the audience, and then another 2,500 videoing in. So really
Wow.
big, yes, really
Yeah.
big crowds, really big crowds, and
Wow.
it's so fun because everyone is so into it. Because it's just like, I don't know if it's the 80s plus this band. It it gives people an opportunity to just have fun. Like they
Yeah.
see,
Yes.
like we're literally bouncing around. Celia is bouncing around the stage. And people
Yeah.
are like, yeah, that means I can have fun too. And they are literally
Absolutely.
singing their hearts
Sure.
out.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
it's this opportunity to just relax and enjoy yourself and be childlike for a moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And forget about your worries for a minute.
Yes.
Yes,
Relive those
definitely.
fun times. I
Yes.
mean, it's
Yes.
just fun music.
The
It
funny
really
thing,
is.
to me, because we were in high school in the 80s and all that, but now my one of my grandkids told me, you're getting old, Pop, when your hair metal is now commercials like, the Geico with
Yeah.
the rat in the attic or whatever it is. We have rats in
Sure.
the attic.
That's so funny.
I'm like, oh man, come on.
Right. That's true.
So
Very
yeah,
true.
but yeah, you're right. And the thing is, the gift that y'all give people of that time back. I mean,
What a gift.
for that
What a
hour and a
gift,
half,
guys.
2 hours that you're on stage, people get to forget about their worries, forget
Mhm.
about their trouble, go back in a place and time and just have some fun. So thank you for that. That's an amazing
Yeah.
gift.
What a gift.
Yeah,
What a
it's
gift
not
it.
lost on us what we do. Like we feel like we are uniquely suited to provide that service to the community at large. We
Mm,
realize because we see it changes, like we change the energy in a room. People need that connection, especially now. I
Mm.
mean, I don't know if it just feels like especially now, but it seems like there's a lot of disconnection. Um, for us
Yes.
right now. And so any opportunity that we can connect, and there's no judgment, there's no choosing who sides, there's no choosing like anything except for we are connecting through music, no words,
yeah.
nothing but
Yeah.
that. And we can be like kind of move as one,
Yeah.
united for this split second. And it's
Yeah.
not lost on us. And it's really a blessing to us to be a part of that. And we talk about it and try to stay present and be aware of it at all times because we're very lucky to do what we do.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest things for us, we actually, and I didn't realize this till we started doing some live shows, and we kind of with the Roy Band down in Nashville, we go to their theater and kind of do some lives every once in a
Mm-hmm.
while.
Mm-hmm.
But to just actually sit back and watch the individuals, everybody's in their own experience and doing their own thing and enjoying it. Do you guys get to see that from the stage very
Yeah.
much and kind of
Y'all
pick
get
up on
that
that?
feel?
Absolutely. Yes. There'll be like a group, there'll be like a bridal shower over
Mm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
We're all in like some kind of uniform. They're all wearing like 80s, the same neon color, right?
Yes,
And
that's
there's
the truth.
there was this last show was hilarious, and there's a bunch of dudes in front of me playing guitar. I don't know if you saw that, Chrissy. There was like a corner of dudes, and they were all like, watching me play guitar, and I'm like, guys, I'm so not shredding, but I think they were like watching what I was playing, and I'm like, this never happens. But it's because they're into the songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's we had a dance contest. We have a to cool jerk, and it's super fun, and people get into that.
Oh,
So
they really do.
yeah, there's just so many levels of enjoyment going on in the
It
crowd.
Yeah.
is. And it's just amazing because, that's the gift you guys give back to your audience. And that's just an amazing experience. And I don't think I ever really realized that till we started doing those live shows and just kind
Yeah.
of doing some filming, and putting
Mhm.
out some live shots. And it was
Well, you got
like,
an opportunity to watch other
yeah,
people, and
yeah.
what
I
we
mean,
do
we were
with
still
that.
enjoying the show like everybody
Sure.
else, but we were kind of working through it. And it was like, wow, I never realized the
The
You
power.
difference
guys,
that things, the
I'm gonna
power.
hop off for a second. I have a
Yes,
drum
ma'am.
student coming, so I'm gonna hop off and let
Yeah.
Celia handle this for a few minutes. I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, that is an advantage or a benefit from being on that riser of a stage, and just seeing who's there. Um, like she said, it's just like all different kinds of people. And then they come to us after the show and talk about, oh, when I was in high school or whatever, and like we used to dance to that. We used to roller skate to that song.
Yes.
Yeah, special memories. Yeah, that you're
Yes.
making, and
Or,
and
we used to
that's
cruise
just
around town and
awesome.
have the song blaring or something.
Yeah, put every
And
window down
and
and listen.
I think that was the cool thing about the 80s too, because even though like I was more of the metal guy, you heard everything on that station, like 103 here in Nashville. You would hear, you might hear Van Halen, and then you might hear Madonna, and then Rat, and then Lionel Richie. It was just everything, and you listened to all of it. It didn't matter. It was all good music back then.
Well, and I think experientially, and so, the 80s was maybe the last area, because in the 90s you started to, you know, get cell phones, and the 80s was a really strong era that I'm trying to think. I feel like the 90s you got started to get away with this because that was when you got MySpace, right? So social media
Right.
started, cell phones started. The 80s, we were all still having like the same limited experience. I mean, or this similar
That's
experience.
right.
Like there was just what was on television.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you had cable, maybe you saw, but the people still listened to the radio. We still bought hard copy music.
That's
And
right.
I remember I remember when we got the beepers and like you didn't have to stop at a payphone to
Yeah,
call whoever to meet
Yeah,
up.
that's
Yeah.
right.
can't even
Yeah.
find a payphone, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Kids today don't know what a payphone is.
yeah, yeah. I think maybe that's why people respond so much to 80s music because it was still so shared among
Yeah.
Yes.
different
And,
people.
It was the center of the decade. It really was.
Mhm.
and you know,
Movies and music was
yes.
the center attention, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And what amazes me, Celia, and I wanted to ask you, we've already kind of touched on it a little bit. You were talking it, so I just want to kind of finish out your thoughts about it. But what amazes me is all the different age ranges
Mhm.
that people love the '80s music.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you, like I said, you touched on it a little bit, but you may want to add something else to it of why you think the '80s music is held on so strong.
I don't know, because I mentioned I teach voice, and I
Right.
have teenage students, and they will come in and say, I want to learn a Eurythmic song, or I want to
Wow.
learn Billy Joel or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
and and the 80s, they do really love the 80s. Part of it I think is that, when you go to Spotify or something, there are playlists for a certain genre, a certain era. And so kids, I'll be like, how did you even know about that song? And they'll say, oh, it was just on a playlist on Spotify, because they've
Yeah.
created for them to some extent, but they're also, their parents are our age, or
Right.
some of them, their grandparents, but but exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I know I listen to jazz like I talked about
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning comments because my parents listened to big band and listened to jazz.
Sure.
And
Now,
so it's partly, the generations listening to the previous generation music, but also you know, the the songs are getting into Stranger Things and movies because
yes.
filmmakers and the showrunner, they all listened to the 80s music when they were in high school
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
so that's who's curating the experiences for people now.
Right.
Now,
Also, the songwriting is simpler. And when I try to learn a song from now, there's so many lyrics, so many lyrics and like it's complicated songwriting. And their brains can get it, but like, we learned verse, chorus, and there
Yeah.
weren't that many lyrics. There weren't
Yeah.
that. So I
I
think
want
it's simpler to hang on to. Sorry,
I
go ahead.
want to ask you this about no, I apologize. I want to ask you this about the lyrics and all this. I haven't ever asked this to a guest, and I'm curious because of your background and expertise. Um, to me, the '80s songs told stories a lot better than music today.
Mm.
It seems to me like they take you in different kind of directions, all in the song. Some of them do. Is that kind of accurate?
I think it depends on it depends on the song. I'm not,
Okay.
I do as a songwriter and as someone who teaches kids and they bring songs into me. I'm a Taylor Swift fan. She's a good songwriter.
Okay. Okay.
I think
Yeah.
that there are artists and there's so many artists. I feel like it's doing contemporary songwriters a disservice um, to say that the songwriting isn't as good or doesn't tell a story. I think that it depends on who you listen. It really depends on who you listen to.
Okay.
And
Okay.
there are um, songwriters that are indie,
Uh
or
huh.
self-producing they're creating great work, really amazing songwriting. So I would just like to graciously and respectfully challenge you to seek out things outside of what's the major labels are doing,
Mm.
because those
yes.
artists are purposefully um, you know sought out because they have broad appeal.
Oh, that's a great point.
Now,
You know,
Celia, this is going to be the most important question of the night.
oh my gosh,
So here it is, and I'm going to kind of set this up, and then
making me
uh,
nervous.
this is one of those
No
high
pressure.
quality,
No
yeah, no
pressure.
pressure. This is one of those, we're a very high quality show. So we do our post conference at the Waffle House every Friday morning before work.
Yeah.
So the way this works, we're going to give you two bands, and we're not going to say whose is whose, and whichever band you pick, the other has to pay for breakfast. Now,
Oh,
DC says I always cheat on this. So today, when I was outside in the yard picking up sticks, and there was a ton of sticks in my yard today. I mean, it was almost like a renegade came through and
You
dropped
come up with
sticks. I just
something
don't
every
understand.
week.
I don't know what you're talking about. But he says I always try to influence, and I don't. So I'm
Well,
gonna
I'm
rest.
gonna steal
I'm
one of your lines.
I'm
So
gonna
you're trying to
rest.
be a renegade.
Yeah, I'm gonna rest from picking up sticks today. And
Yeah.
I'm going to let him tell you the two bands to choose from
Okay.
because I'm tired from picking up sticks today.
All
Okay.
right. So obviously one of the groups is Sticks
Why? Wow, really?
versus,
Why?
yeah, you're trying to be the renegade.
Okay.
So Sticks versus Foreigner.
Oh, that's so hard, you guys.
Yeah, we try to put good battles together.
I'm going to tell you, one of those bands was the very first concert that I went to.
Uh-oh.
Oh wow.
So I'm going to have to go with Foreigner.
Yes.
Well,
That's
it
2 weeks in a row.
so yeah, it was
Oh,
so
wait a minute.
nice.
I love Stick as well.
It was so
Yeah.
nice having you on tonight. We appreciate your time.
Oh wow, that's funny.
Wow. All right, DC. So I got to buy you another refill of coffee this week.
Right.
Man.
That's what I figure. You work an
Oh,
angle all the
you're
time
wearing
on
you're
that.
wearing my budget out. I mean,
You're right.
that
Sorry about
free
that.
refill's killing me.
We do have good coffee at the Waffle House.
They
so-
do.
Yes, they
yes.
do. That's one of the
Yes.
reasons we stop by. That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, before we let you out of here, talk to us a little bit about what you like your socials and all
Oh.
that, where people can find what's going on with you.
Sure. My main one is under Celia Chavez. My name, Celia Chavez, Music, Muzik on Instagram.
Okay,
And I
that's
also,
perfect. Chrissy's back in.
oh, she's back. Okay.
Yeah, we'll close out. Go ahead, keep going.
And I have a duo, my duo, Petty Chavez. It's Petty Chavez Music spelled correctly, all one word
Okay,
on
all
Instagram.
right.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Chrissy, before we get out of here, go ahead and tell us some stuff that's going on here in the near future and all your socials where people can find y'all's work.
Sure. Did Celia already talk about our gig coming up this week?
Nice.
Uh,
So
Got
we're
one this
playing
week.
Friday here in Southern California. So we have a show this Friday. I mean, we have shows. We're actually booked through the end of the year.
wow.
We have shows already booked
Good for
through
you.
December.
Good
Yeah.
for you.
So
That's awesome.
so it's actually really excited to get this, kind of kicked back into gear. They can find out information on our band either at Totally GoGo's, which is our social name on both Facebook and Instagram.
Yes.
And then they can always lead to find any of our projects through our home base, which is Pulp Vixen Band
Pulp
as
Vixen,
well.
yes.
Mhm. And on
Very
all of our,
good.
our full calendar is on our website, pulpvixenband.com, and that has every project we do.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
With our two 80s projects, our GoGo's and Van Halen, and then we even added a new millennial project this past year. It's called Mostly Miley, and we're
All
hitting
right.
up Miley Cyrus. And the thing about Miley Cyrus that is cool, and this kind of goes into how people are so obsessed with the 80s and older music. Miley Cyrus is known not just for her Hannah Montana hits and that kind of stuff and her Grammy Award winning song 2 years ago, but she loves to cover iconic artists and she'll pair up with iconic artists. So when people come to our show, they don't realize they're going to get Dolly Parton and they're going to get, Stevie Nicks and they're going to get Billy Idol and Joan Jett and Madonna and all of these Metallica, Led Zeppelin, all these other songs, because she literally has recorded covers of
Yeah.
all these iconic bands.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
for some reason, regardless of age, the 80s has just stuck. So we're happy to be a part of it. And we sure thank you very much for making time for us. And
Oh,
thanks for leading the charge today, Celia, while I
No
was
problem.
doing other
Although
stuff.
she
al-
did fantastic.
although I will say she did an amazing job, except for her selection in the choice, and she chose Foreigner. So
Yeah.
I have to buy coffee. So
Oh,
Celia,
no.
and at
Yeah.
that point,
Sad
it's like,
face.
see, Chrissy would have picked. She would have picked
See,
C.
I thought that was the greatest part of your interview. Was the choice on that.
It's all
So
about perception there.
it's all the way you look at it. Yes, that was the way I was
I
going with
love
that.
I love to see that you two are still at it.
Yeah, it never stops.
No. We always are going to be digging at each other and
Yeah,
have a good
that's
time.
That's
the
what
fun
makes
so.
it fun.
It
That's
is.
fun.
That's the
fun.
fun part about it.
Well, hopefully we'll see you two again in September for Van
Yes.
Halen month.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. We'd love to
Yes.
have you on for that.
Speaking of that, what a
Go
great
ahead.
lead in. What a
Yeah,
great lead
we
in.
appreciate that lead
Hey,
in.
folks, we're going to change things up a little bit starting in August, where we're booked all the way through July. So we thought we would start this in August, where we're going to pick an artist each month, and we're going to kind of do the cover band, tribute bands, and talk about some of their work for
Or
the entire month
experts
for all
about
4
that
or 5
particular one.
shows
Yep.
of the month. So we're going to start off in August because that's when Elvis passed away. We're going to do Elvis first.
Oh, cool.
And
Yeah, a
then
month of Elvis
September,
stuff. Yep.
September, we're going to talk about Van Halen. So
Van
that's the
Halen
first
is
2
up on
months.
September.
So,
Yep.
and we already have one of our
Yeah.
guests lined up, ready to go. So it's going to be amazing. That's going
Yeah.
to change over. And folks, I'm going to go ahead and I'll do my part now, DC, before I throw it over to you.
Yeah, can you guys hang with us as we end the show?
Yes.
Of
Yeah, sure.
course.
Remember,
Fantastic.
folks, you can find us on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, on our website, and on Canyon Star TV, all D&D Dynamite 80s. Wherever we can put these ugly faces of ours, they're going. You're welcome for that. And we appreciate everybody that joins in weekly with us.
We appreciate all the
our
support.
guests. You guys, our guests are the ones
You
that actually
make the
our
show.
show. Because they
Absolutely.
sure don't join in to see us. We know
No.
that.
No, they do not.
But folks, as I always end off before I send it over to DC to wrap everything up, it doesn't cost anything extra to be kind. So always be kind to each other. DC?
Amen, brother. Amen.
Thank you for that reminder. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We need it in this world.
Next week, we're excited about this one. Heart by Heart, a tribute
Yes.
by Heart, or to Heart, excuse me. Steve Fossen. Steve Fossen was an original member of Heart.
Yes.
So he'll be on along with his wife, Summer. And they do a tribute, Heart tribute now. And we're excited about catching up with them and talking a little bit of Heart music next week. So that's what's up on the agenda, my friend, next week.
Yes. Going to be an amazing
right.
show.
That's going to be a
again.
good one.
All right.
Yes.
So look us up on YouTube and catch that one for sure.
Yes.
All right.
Let's-
Let me
let's
go ahead and
work.
get them. Let's get the sponsors in real quick.
Yes.
D&D Dynamite 80s would like to thank their sponsors, Hudson's Flags and More, Nesting Project of Smyrna, Tennessee, PJG Marketing, Totally Cool 80s, Charlie Bubbles Cares for Kids, Jackie's Creations on Facebook, Riley Rhodes Art Designs at rileyroads.art on Instagram, and the Magic Yarn Project. You can find all these great folks online. You most certainly can.
Yes. Hey, folks, if you are looking for a couple of organizations to support right now, please consider the two that we are blessed to be part of their family, the Magic Yarn Project. And what that is, that's a group of volunteers. They hand knit headgear, superhero princesses, all of that for kids that are battling cancer and provide it free of charge for those kids.
Aw,
It's
I
a
love
fantastic
that.
organization.
It's amazing. And then also Charlie Bubbles Cares for Kids, the Vooch. You got him behind. He's on my desk over here. Yes. And what
Paul
they do.
Carafotis, the actor. Yeah.
Yes, and what they do, folks, is if you when you make a donation to them, they help provide books for
Yeah,
children
he's
that may
writing
not be
children's
able.
books.
Yes, and
Yeah,
they provide these books for kids that may not be able to afford the books. And as educators, we both know how important literacy is at a young age. So if you're looking
absolutely.
for somebody to support with your thoughts and blessings and monetary or any of that, please
Or
get with
pass
those
on
two
their
organizations.
information. Yeah.
Yes, anything you can do to help those folks.
Yep.
Hey guys,
Absolutely.
I just have a really one last great idea for D&D. Okay.
Hey,
I think you should host a tribute festival on a cruise. And I think that we should
oh,
I think you should invite all of your, bands or a select, number of
Yeah.
bands,
Yeah.
right? And I think that part of the proceeds can go to those organizations
Those
that you guys
organizations.
support. Like,
Oh,
wouldn't
that's a
that be
fantastic
fab?
idea.
that would be amazing.
Let's put
DC,
a show together. Let's do it.
we need
Yeah,
to make
let's
that
do that.
happen.
Hey,
That
Yeah.
would be
listen, I'll
amazing.
help. I will help. Let's do it, guys.
Amazing.
Okay.
Yes, let's do
All
it. That
right.
would be
Sounds
amazing.
fantastic to us.
Yes.
For sure. That would be a awesome
Yes.
experience. It would. So much
Now
fun.
I will warn you, if I show up in shorts, people are going to put sunglasses on because I got the widest legs you've ever seen.
Well,
listen,
if
we're
you
gonna
hurt people
have-
too much, we'll just throw you off the boat.
We're gonna have wrestling. We're gonna have WrestleMania if it's gonna be an '80s cruise. So
Hey.
just get ready to put your mask on
Hey,
and
listen.
your shorts.
We're all in.
We
Yeah,
can do
we're
it,
all
brother.
in.
We're
Yeah.
gonna bring it, brother. We're gonna do it now, brother. Here
See,
we
the
go.
idea's
What you
already
gonna do?
developing. This
Yes.
is gonna be a good one. It's gonna be good.
I love it.
Oh.
I love it.
So much fun. Ladies, it's been an honor.
Yes,
It
thank
really
you so
has. We
much.
appreciate you so much. Yeah, and we want to hear back from you in September
Yes,
for sure.
definitely.
Yeah,
Right
I'll get with
on.
you. I'll send you info about all that and keep you in the
Yes.
loop. So
Awesome. All right. Have a very wonderful rest of your weekend, all of you. Thank you, Celia, for your
Yeah.
bright shining light. I'm so happy you're a part of our project. Makes me so happy.
So fun.
so for
Just
Celia,
remember,
for
next time
Chrissy,
it sticks. Sticks.
DH, I'm DC. Best to you, ladies. Safe travels.
Best to you. Thank you for joining us
Best to
tonight.
all the ladies in the projects there. That yeah, just all the best to you.
You as well.
See
All
you
right.
soon.
As DC always leads us out by saying, keep playing those 80s, my friends, and we'll see you
See
next
you
week.